الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, people are always looking for a reason to celebrate. And while we are still celebrating Eid, a person should ponder about the difference between our celebration and other people's celebration. We find in the way that other people celebrate, mainly non-Muslims, they would find every reason to celebrate anything and everything. But the way they celebrate things is usually by unleashing their desires and by having fun, as they say. As one person put it, he was asking a Muslim brother, how do you celebrate? So the Muslim brother explained that there is no alcohol, for instance, in our celebrations. So he said, how can you have fun without having alcohol? So he was puzzled. So other people, they cannot have fun, as they say, without drinking. And then after drinking, they basically commit indecent or immoral acts. And they found that it is socially acceptable after drinking to commit these acts, and that it is the best excuse for committing these acts. And also they find in this an escape from reality. As for us, you find that our Eid starts with Salah. It is the best thing to start the Eid with. And then it is beautified by the takbir, as we have heard. And also the giving of charity, as it is the case for Eid al-Fitr, and sharing of the meat, as it is the case for Eid al-Adha, to share this happy occasion with the poor and the needy. In the case of Eid al-Adha, we find that we have a sacrifice that we perform, that many Muslims were able to perform. And contrary to what people think, the sacrifice is not something new to the Muslims, as it has been prescribed to all nations since Adam alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hajj, which is Surah number 22, ayah number 34, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنْسَكًا لِيَذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ. And for every nation, we have appointed religious ceremonies that they may mention the name of Allah over the beasts of cattle that He has given them for food. So, this is how the Eid starts. And then having fun, a halal fun, is allowed within reason for the Muslim, without breaking any laws. And the Muslim should also ponder upon, why are we celebrating Eid? Basically, contrary to other people, who try to find every reason to celebrate anything, we are celebrating some achievements. We are celebrating after doing good deeds. We are celebrating after doing hard work. So this is something that we deserve a celebration for. We are also celebrating the sacrifice of the animal within ourselves, the sacrifice of these bad habits that a person may have. Also, if we recall the story of the Sahaba and their many sacrifices, we find that they were selfless. They thought about others more than they thought about themselves. And one of the best stories to describe this is the story of the prohibition of alcohol, since we mentioned alcohol earlier. In the prohibition of alcohol, when the final prohibition came down, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum wa ardahum, they basically followed the commandment to the word. They right away refrained from consuming alcohol. But they did ask the Prophet a question. And contrary to the questions that we ask nowadays when we hear an ayah, a proof from the Quran or the Sunnah, right? Usually the question that we ask is, why is this and why is that? The Sahaba radiallahu anhum asked a different kind of question. They were worried about others. They said, what about our brothers who died with alcohol in their bellies, with alcohol in their stomach? That is, they died before the command came down. So they were worried about them. They were not really worried only about themselves, but they were worried about others. They were thinking about others. They were selfless. And also something that may be very interesting that a person should have thought about if a person wants to be with the righteous or maybe elevate his level of piety. And we should all try this. We all need to basically practice this, including myself. While we were sacrificing this animal, it was from the Sunnah to distribute some of it to the poor and the needy, right? While we were distributing this meat to the poor and needy, which part of the animal did we distribute? Was it the best part, the part that you like, or any part? Or maybe the worst part, the part that we don't eat usually, maybe the head. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, which is Surah number 3, ayah 92, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. Never will you attain the good reward, that is, until you spend in the way of Allah from that which you love. And whatever you spend, indeed, Allah is knowing of it. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, something that we should really ponder upon while doing good deeds is what has been mentioned by Al-Hasan al-Basri. He said, قرأت في 90 موضعا من القرآن أن الله قدر الأرزاق وضمنها لخلقه. He said, I read in the book of Allah in 90 places that He has guaranteed the sustenance for His slaves. وقرأت في موضع واحد الشيطان يعدكم الفقر. And I have read in one place only in the Quran, Satan promises you poverty. And I'm pretty sure when these people read the Quran, they didn't have search engines. They didn't have Google at the time. So I'm pretty sure one of them would have recited those 90 different ayat from the Quran by heart. And he will tell you exactly what the ayat are and where they are found in the Quran. The 90 ayat versus one ayah. The ayah where Satan promises the slaves of Allah that whenever they try to spend in His way, He will promise them that they're going to be poor. فشككنا في قول الصادق في 90 موضعا وصدقنا قول الكاذب في موضع واحد. He said, it is as if we have doubt in the saying of the truth, the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 90 places in the Quran, and we listened to the shaitan from that one ayah that was mentioned. So it is as if, brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that you don't have to worry about sustenance. You only have to do your best. You work hard, do your best, everything else is guaranteed. Just go and do good deeds. Just go out and be a better person. Go out and help others. Your sustenance is guaranteed. You don't have to worry about it too much. And when we look around us today, and it was very sad to see, if some of you saw some of the news that we see every day, it seems like, that the image of Islam is being tarnished. Whether it is by Muslims or by people pretending to be Muslims, it doesn't really matter. But the image of Islam is being tarnished. One has to ask himself, what have I done to improve this image? Each and every one of us should ask this question to himself and say, what have I done to improve this image? Am I part of the problem or part of the solution? It's very hard to stay neutral. You're either helping this image by showing that Muslims are better than that, or you are part of the problem. That means you are showing that indeed Muslims are the ones they show on TV, right? The few, maybe bad ones. So people are of three types. The ones that make things happen, the ones who work hard, do good deeds, help others, and the ones who watch things happen. This is the second type of people. And the third type is the ones who hear about things happening. They don't do much. So we should ask ourselves, which type of people are we? And compare ourselves to the Sahaba. It's very hard to compare oneself to a Sahabi, but let's talk about comparing ourselves, our mentality, to their mentality. Specifically, to those who have been promised paradise. We talk about the famous 10 who have been promised paradise. But in fact, there's more than 10 who have been promised paradise, where they were alive during the Prophet's time. Those people, imagine yourself that you were there with them and you were promised paradise. How would you behave? You got a guarantee, you got like a certificate that you have a spot, a guaranteed spot, you have a ticket to paradise. How would you behave? Would you work hard like they did? Like some of them, we hear about these khulafa, for instance, like one of them used to pray at night. And during the day, he's taking care of the affairs of Muslims. So when he was asked, he said, if I sleep at night, then I will neglect my duties to Allah. If I sleep during the day, then I will neglect my duties towards the slaves of Allah. Can you imagine a person that only sleeps maybe an hour or two every night during his whole life? And this is a person that has been promised paradise. So this is what we are trying to compare. Our mentality and their mentality. If one of us was promised paradise, most likely, for the most part, for most people, he will sit home and relax, watch TV, wait for death. There's nothing to worry about. I have a certificate. So this is really what we are comparing is how much have we done to be better, how much have we done to help the image of Islam. And a person shouldn't be content to just be neutral in everything. Just go to work, buy groceries, go home, eat and drink, sleep, and then every day it's the same. You should aim for something bigger. You should have a long-term goal. You should try to achieve big. You should try to serve the community, serve other people, as there is more reward always for helping others than just helping yourself. Be useful. Don't just criticize others, but be useful, do things. And people, indeed, will remember you in their dua if you were useful to them. After you die, when they remember your name, they say, Rahimahullah. And if we do all this, then indeed, we will have many reasons to celebrate. We'll have 1,000 reasons to celebrate. I always found it very funny that in many Muslim countries, you find people, especially noticeable during Ramadan, people who don't fast and they don't pray. And when Eid comes, they want to celebrate. What are you celebrating, really? People who deserve to celebrate are the ones who fasted the whole month, prayed Taraweeh, prayed the 5 salawats on time. Those are the people who deserve to celebrate. Others who didn't do anything, they don't really deserve to celebrate. What are you celebrating? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in doing good deeds and be useful and be helpful and be a model to other people and other nations. أقول قولي هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كن لهم ناصرا ومعينا. اللهم أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف يا رب العالمين. اللهم أدم على المسلمين الأمن والإيمان واعصمهم من الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم ولي على المسلمين خيارهم وأبعد عنهم شرارهم. اللهم اهدنا لأحسن الأخلاق لا يهدي لأحسنها إلا أنت واصرف عنا سيئها لا يصرف عنا سيئها إلا أنت. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. واتل عليهم نبأ ابني آدم بالحق إذ قربا قربانا فتقبل من أحدهما ولم يتقبل من الآخر قال لأقتلنك قال إنما يتقبل الله من المتقين. لئن بسطت إلي يدك لتقتلني ما أنا بباسط يدي إليك لأقتلك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين إني أريد أن تبوء بإثمي وإثمك فتكون من أصحاب النار وذلك جزاء الظالمين فطوعت له نفسه قتل أخيه فقتله فأصبح من الخاسرين فبعث الله غرابا يبحث في الأرض ليريه كيف يواري سوءة أخيه قال يا ويلتى أعجزت أن أكون مثل هذا الغراب فأواري سوءة أخي فأصبح من النادمين من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا ولقد جاءتهم رسلنا بالبينات ثم إن كثيرا منهم بعد ذلك في الأرض لمسرفون إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم إلا الذين تابوا من قبل أن تقدروا عليهم فاعلموا أن الله غفور رحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وابتغوا إليه الوسيلة وجاهدوا في سبيله لعلكم تفلحون إن الذين كفروا لو أن لهم ما في الأرض جميعا ومثله معه ليفتدوا به من عذاب يوم القيامة ما تقبل منهم ولهم عذاب أليم يريدون أن يخرجوا من النار وما هم بخارجين منها ولهم عذاب مقيم